Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Weconomix. And today we have...
Yes, we have Professor Sargunan here.
Yeah, but you can call me Guna. I was once a professor.
What? Once a professor, always a professor, they say.
Yeah. So I've retired.
But your wisdom has not gone away.
So what, it's Prof Guna or?
People still call me Prof Guna or
Yeah.
Prof Sargunan, but I just say, look, you can just call me Guna.
So Prof Guna or Guna hails from one of Malaysia's most prestigious universities, University Malaya.
University Malaya.
And he's a doctor of rheumatology. Yes?
I'm a doctor of medicine and my specialization is in the subject of rheumatology.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And I think he and Swami both hail from the same parents. If you have not seen it yet, we should spoil it.
Mom and dad.
Right. Okay. Brothers. Right. But I'm the younger one. Not right. Just so that there's no confusion here. Right.
Guna has made different life choices and hence his youth.
Oh, you're too kind.
All right. Yes.
But unfortunately, yes, many a times they think he's the elder brother and I'm younger when actually I'm the eldest.
Right. Okay. So today, Prof Guna is going to diagnose the health of our planet. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
That's an easy one.
It's what is out of light? What is something like?
How healthy is our planet today?
How is it bad? Terrible. It's bad.
Oh, what's going on?
Just to start off, we are looking at the increased frequency of weather event, cataclysmic weather events. We're talking about, I saw your episode about the storm, or rather, was it called the cyclone?
Yeah, a cyclone that we had.
Formed in the Straits of Malacca, you imagine, and then went to Sumatra and caused so much damage, then turned around, made a U-turn, but thankfully just became a tropical storm when it arrived on our shores. So that itself is like, it's such an anomaly.
Yeah.
I think there was a time, around that time, there were actually three cyclones that were happening at the same time. One took out Sri Lanka, right? And then I think Philippines, the entire Philippine archipelago was covered by what I looked like a single storm. So I'm a little bit, I like, if I'm allowed to say, a website, AccuWeather, that's just fantastic. Whenever I hear about events, I look at it and you can see for real that there's an actual storm or a cyclone or a hurricane or a typhoon, whichever part of the world. You know, some places they call it a squall. That's coming the way of the people. And I think it's important for us as citizens of this planet to be aware of these situations that's happening. For one, we got to be prepared. And second, in solidarity with our fellow humans who are going through horrific events on the other side of the planet. You know, one of the nice things, the comforting things that I feel really works is if you know that other people are aware of the situation and have you in their thoughts and prayers. I think that's a start.
Yes.
Yes, certainly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the diagnosis is unfortunately very dire. Somebody has got to say it.
Yeah.
I do believe that it's very important for the positivists, I call it, who say it may be late, but it's not too late. We all must do our part. I understand, I believe in them, and I also try to recycle, try to avoid having high carbon footprint, try to reduce it as much as possible. I do my part. But until we call it what it is and say that it's actually in late stages, I think we need to have that sense of dread.
I think people forget, like events happen, people get scared, people talk about how bad it is. After a few, everything's okay. That just happened.
Within a month or two, everyone's forgotten. And
Now it's the hot weather.
Yeah. Everything's good now,
Yes.
There was just a phase. I don't know how often this has to happen for us to actually feel like this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, you hear about vineyards. I don't know why I mentioned vineyards in Australia. And some of my favorite vineyards.
Yeah, very much about this stuff.
Yeah, we're hit by bushfires and the wildlife that's been destroyed. It's just incredible. So events are happening. I believe we need to call it for what it is, and only then we can expect action to happen. I saw your episode on the tigers, and both the episodes are very, sadly, very disturbing. As much as I want to say hopeful, and I believe there is hope, but the information that we gathered, and that was very shortly after an episode that I heard on one of our radio stations talking about tigers and tiger conservationists, and some of the stories they told was very, very, very sad. And you guys came up with the story as well.
Give an example of the story that you have.
Oh, it's about they caught the poacher.
Oh, okay, the same.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it as well.
Yes.
And there's another sadder story that the tiger that they had been following, a tigress, that they've been following for years as a kitten, as a small cub. Sorry, right. And as it grew up, and I think it had its own cubs later. But then there was the story of I'm not so sure where, but a vehicle hit a tiger, and the tiger unfortunately died. And it turned out to be that tiger that they were following all these years. How heartbreaking is that? Yeah, I mean, these are very sad stories. But being a doctor, having worked in a hospital, I think misery, sadness, grief is all part and parcel of life. So we can talk to it without the emotion. But what I believe is take that energy and channel it towards action. And that's what you guys are doing with Weconomix.
So we are trying to. Guna has been keenly observing what's been happening in Davos.
Davos, yes.
Right, Davos.
World Economic Forum.
Yes, and there seems to be seismic changes that's going on. That is basically giving people a pause in the global world order right now. Anyone who's been listening to or keeping tabs what's been happening in Davos, of course, will have heard about, or if not have heard, the Prime Minister of Canada's amazing speech.
Yeah.
So, yes, so the Prime Minister delivered basically the keynote speech that is setting the tone for our century, how things are going to be.
Spoke for everyone.
Right. So, Guna, please give us your insights.
That's a very nice introduction. So, when you ask me about diagnosing the planet, I think economy is another thing. But I think it's not as dire as the environment.
Sure.
But it's definitely not comfortable. As we know, the tumultuousness that has happened ever since the United States elections. And I just have a sort of a background introduction to this. So I'm interested in economy. I'm interested in economics. I'm not sure. But really, I must give due credit, and I really want to express my gratitude to all the people on YouTube and the magazines and so on. I mean, there are many political analysts. They are trained in that field. I absolutely absorb what they say, and also the economists as well. I get so much information from many of these websites and YouTube channels, and I want to say thank you. So I'm not an economist. I may be an academician, but my field is medicine and rheumatology. But I have a keen interest in this field. It's just fascinating.
Yeah, everyone is interested. So you also feel like this should be something taught to everyone. It's crazy how it's an elective. Do you want to learn about it?
You remember when we were in school, in secondary school, after Form 3, we are streamed into science and arts and commerce. See, arts and commerce are in that field. Science, I don't see science combining with commerce. I may have missed something, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, no.
I realized financial management, financial savviness is so important. These are things that we should have learned in school.
Yes. Should be taught to everyone.
Yeah, it should be taught to everyone.
Maybe that's the whole plan. The plan is not to teach everyone.
So is that
so they can say anything they want and get away with this?
Is that what we call gatekeeping?
Yes.
Is that the term that you don't give out too much information? You keep the information for yourself. And I think So I'm a teacher. I spent a good part of my 25 years being a teacher, and I think information must be made available to everyone. And I'm also quite happy for, whenever my patients come up to me and say, we saw this on Google, we did our research. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. It's good that you're being given the opportunity, you're taking matters into your own hands. There's a word that escapes me right now.
Response.
But you're taking charge. So that's something that's really important. I think we should do that with economy as well.
Yes.
And with all the things that's been going on, COVID brought this whole supply chain into the forefront because we saw for ourselves what happens when there's disruption in the supply chain. So talking about Davos, now why was the World Economic Forum this year very particular was because Prime Minister Mark Carney gave a fantastic speech that I promise if you listen, you will be hooked.
Yeah, I watched it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, you'll be hooked. And so many people on YouTube who are speech writers, public speaking experts, they're actually breaking it down and telling you all the rule of threes.
How you can watch it in layers, right?
It was
exactly information, and you watch it for its presentation, and you watch it for.
Yeah, and I saw even one of the comments that Prime Minister Mark Carney wrote it himself, which I think it's very possible, very likely.
Governor of
He
central
was
banks.
the governor of 2 banks, the Bank of England and was it
Bank of, I think, Canada.
Canada, Royal Bank of Canada. So you see, this is the kind of technocratic savviness, a true person that we see as a leader, that we hope to have as a leader, who can come up and comfort people actually, right?
Right.
And it reminds me of George W. Bush actually.
I mean,
After 9/11, he gave a speech, and I think he saw his role as one to comfort the people after a horrendous tragedy has occurred.
Right.
And he comforted everyone to say, hey, I'm your leader and I'm here for you, right? And that's all what we need. So many years later now, we talk about economy, and who has been giving us that kind of speech?
I mean,
Has everyone?
No. Right.
for me, it brings us Obama vibes. Watching him bring Obama vibes, exactly. But it's been a long time since then. I don't. It's been
The Obama presidency seems like almost 1,000 years ago now.
it feels like not long ago. Like I was in school in that, but I wasn't in school, but it feels like a long time ago.
So leadership is important, and we want to hear our leaders speak well. Because with good knowledge, you will come up with a good speech. Now, the next day, we had President Trump give his talk. Was it 10 minutes, 15?
An hour.
It's almost an hour, 15.
6 minutes.
And there you see the rules are being bent over here. So I just want to, before I go into Prime Minister Carney's speech, I just want to say that today rules are being broken. For what purpose? Now, as a leader, I would think that I would like to give a speech that is concise, comprehensive, and gets people to move, not to intimidate or frighten or make you feel a sense of dread. If you do this, I'm going to do this, right? I mean, come on, this is 2026. I think we need to all start working together.
Yes.
And we now know that tariffs have been weaponized, right? So on that background, if you look at what Prime Minister Carney has spoken, he says, we now have, I don't want to use the word new world order, but from now, things are going to change. And you mentioned it, Swami, that like 1 or 2 episodes ago about whatever has been going on in 2024-25, we will start to feel the effects this year, right? Costs of goods, cost of vegetables, cost of day-to-day requirements is going to increase, I believe, in the United States. I might be wrong, but I think the cost of everything, I mean, all over the world, things are expensive. And people are going to start feeling the pinch. And as we saw, when people start going hungry, that's when people are going to take to the streets. We saw it happen time and again. And unfortunately, this is happening in Iran at the moment. The currency, you can go into xe.com and check their currency of what is the value of $1 US in the Iranian currency. It's quite shocking. It's just scary when something like that happens, that you want to buy bread, your money is worthless. Who's going to sell you the bread?
Yeah. Hungry is dangerous.
Hungry is dangerous, right? So this is something that we are already at that point where it's time now for action. And what is the action? The action is the middle powers. The middle powers.
Yeah, so this term he used
is coming out, right? Look, we can work together. And already, I just want to see, do you know what's happened since then? Who has met with who?
Yes, yeah, but you can lighten us.
So it was interesting because obviously Prime Minister Carney has met President Xi Jinping, so much so that I think there was some anger in America that why are you talking to him, right? Prime Minister Narendra Modi has met with Ursula, the chair of the EU,
basically.
and she had gone to India, I believe.
Yeah, India.
And communities of 2 billion people are now talking to one another.
Feels strange to see 2 billion people. This is a lot.
So you could see that there's some, and of course, I think Xi Jinping has also met Keir Starmer, Prime Minister Keir Starmer in the UK. Now you see, it's like some rearrangement is going on.
It's so silently, so in a very skewed way.
So in a sense, when you look at all of this in politics and economy should be boring, right? By right, you go on with your life. There's a lot of things to do. The last thing you want to think is macro level. But things are in such a position now where there's this seismic shift. And as you say, Mark Carney saying the middle powers is forming, and that is going to be the balancer in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like the third force. Now, why do I say third force? Because what's the largest economy is still the United States of America. All right. Then followed by China, is it? And then it's Germany, and then comes India, which overtook Japan. And you could see that we understand these dynamics, but guess what's happening? When middle powers speak to one another, when middle powers start to trade with one another, no one wants to talk about bypassing. So in the end, I think what we are looking for is, if the middle powers are talking to one another, it's not that we are excluding countries like China or the US. We want them to join. Maybe not now, but at some point you're going to see the wisdom of smaller countries, smaller economies talking to one another, forming these blocks, that you'd want to join us well and join as friends.
Right.
Not as intimidated.
Yes.
Because you're so big. That's what I got from Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech, in that we can all work together. The people who have not worked together, because for the longest time we've depended on China for manufacturing and the products and so on, whereas the United States with services and technology. But we have our brains. We have our, look at India, for instance, the sheer power of 1.2 billion, 1.3 billion. And such an educated workforce, young workforce. I think there's potential that we've all held back because conveniently we already have things. So I think Prime Minister Carney had a lot of things to say, which he had compressed in this, and he had sort of brought people together.
Yes. Yeah, in his speech, the amazing thing, no matter what he was saying, he was not confrontational.
Yeah, exactly.
He was building cooperation. Yep. And that's what's actually happening in the world now. So you look at the way US is closing itself off, right? Becoming more and more insular. That doesn't matter actually right now. We've gone through 1 year of that. Yep. People kind of know how President Trump behaves, how he says things and climbs back down, all of those things. But what hasn't changed is that the rules-based order, it's not a new order, it's just a common sense order, right? Where you respect a country's borders, its sovereignty. We don't want big countries eating up small countries. We don't want to go back to colonization. We don't want to go back to superpowers telling everyone what they can do and what they cannot do, right? So all of that is still there. That post-World War II realization that we had, look, wars is just not worth it. It's not worth it to colonize places. Better to give people their own administration and work on trade.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So that free trade, that kind of globalization is still happening around the world. And it's just moving to say, okay, let's, we cannot work with US this way, but we can still work with each other this way.
Yeah. Correct.
And the whole idea that US portrays itself as a global leader is what is eroding from that. That's all.
No, we were happy for the US to be the global leader. At the time, so many of us grew up with American culture. And I think it worked, and we learn things. I mean, space technology, come on. I mean, it's fantastic things. And I learned a lot about economics from some of the authors there. Peter Lynch was one of them. Amazing insights. And that really helped. So I think that the US has so much to offer.
And that's what we talked about in one episode where the world has given them the position. Like,
Yes.
I see your country from movies, you're the greatest. And now they're just throwing that away. Like, no, we are greater because we can kidnap your
It's true. Yes.
We can come and do whatever we want to your country. That's what.
And we can say whatever we want.
Yeah.
Okay, I want Greenland. Okay, I want Greenland. It is mine.
And we accept.
Right?
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be yours.
Right. So that's the arrogance is the fact that the Trump administration expects the Europeans to just put their hands down and say, yeah, please take it.
Yeah.
Like,
he thinks that
Amazing.
that power was always there, but US not using it. Hey, like, how come you don't do that? Like, because you can't. And if you do this will happen.
I read a book by a filmmaker, or rather a reality TV producer, Mark Burnett, I think his name is. And he produced Survivor, and he also produced, I think, The Apprentice. His story is amazing. His story is fantastic. I'd advise people. The book is called Jump In. And
Sounds like it.
it's a very good book that I picked up from Sorry, the Bargain Bin. And I must say, it is an inspiring book. Why? So I'm not going to go into the details, but jump in is a concept that we have in business. That if you think the odds are against you, but if you think correctly, not afraid to take risks, jump into the deeper end of the pool and learn the trade, you will succeed. And true enough, he succeeded. And President Trump was praising that. Then, you see, I always say that when somebody does something, there must be a reason for it. With all the things that's going on in the United States today, why do we have a leader who does what he does? Because some things have worked. Some things have worked. Like, and I could be wrong, but I just want to make it clear that when we talked about how all the countries have sort of been very okay. Let's say you talked about NATO. Let's talk about NATO, for instance. It is true the United States has been paying for much of NATO's expenditure. It is only lately, after Trump took over, that the other countries are paying a bit more. So it has worked. So which is why you give all the necessary reasons for someone to act. And he did. And the results. So that's my point. When you get results, right? So the end justifies the means.
Just a counterpoint, Prof. So, NATO is by design set up so that America will be the primary force provider. They'll be the leader, and they have their defense industrial complex, right? Of course, France, Germany, and UK all have their own defense industries. But they always defer to the US.
Right.
Right? And buying US defense package helps them make, coordinate their defenses better together. Instead of me producing this type of radar, you producing your type of radar. So they have some commonality in their defense infrastructure. So like now, what's going on now is President Trump has been pushing this, okay, you have to spend more. And the Europeans actually, using Ukraine, took this opportunity to say, yes, we will gladly spend more on our defense.
Thank you for telling.
Right? Okay. But what they're going to do is they're not going to buy US tech.
Right.
Which they used to. So this is going to erode the United States, their dominance in defense infrastructure, and their defense industrial complex is going to get less and less attractive to the Europeans, to the rest of NATO. So in a sense, what's happening now is I don't think NATO will dissolve. They will stay because President Trump, his administration is not permanent, right? No matter how they try.
Yeah.
They say, chances are there's going to be another administration that's different after him. But what will happen is they will make US basically an equal member. In a sense, they are squandering that position, the position of being the leader of the free world.
Yes.
Saying that the United States office of the president is the highest office in the world. No more. That is where this middle powers come in.
Exactly.
And say, look, you are one of the powers.
And we respect that.
Yes. The US economy, I don't think it's definitely going to go down. And, that's why gold is picking up.
Exactly.
Right? And Arul, I think you can come on in.
I've come on that one.
Yes.
I mean, we went from 4.7 the last time we talked, and then he hit 5, and then the phone is at 5.3. Really, it's fine. Really, it went to almost 5.6. It was like 5.84. I think the last time I saw.
Right.
And I mean, it would have been a good time to sell, but it's gold, right?
Yeah.
Gold is something you really feel to also sell. And then it went, there's so many of these cryptocurrency pages that I follow just to find out what's happening in that world. And they're all like, gold took a massive dip. And like, the dip is still 5.1, 5.2.
Right.
Like their dip,
They have to say that.
than what it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they have to say that because
If they thrive off the
I
failure.
do, and I have the greatest respect for everybody in this planet. I mean, not everyone is as lucky as us that, life is comfortable. I know people are struggling to put food on the table.
Right.
Gold is where we should put our attention in. Even if people can talk about buying 0.0001 of Bitcoin, we could do the same with gold.
Yes.
Right? And gold is here to stay. Gold is here to put up a challenge to all the conventional economy stuff that we have, currency trading, cryptocurrency, and so on. And as we saw, as you mentioned, Swami, that whatever it is, the way gold is coming up, people are scared. That's kind of a panic. It's like our conventional systems are not working anymore.
What do you call it?
Gold detector.
Your gold detector. People are scared when they read about news, financial news coming out from all parts of the world. I mean, look, China, for instance, there is a problem in China as well. I mean, there is an economic slowdown. People are kind of like taking it easy. There's a property glut. There are problems in a huge, respectable economy like China as well, right? So if you look at it, then in that climate of fear, no pun intended, gold gives you the security. And perhaps silver, I think silver has done well. So metals seem to be the thing that we are going forward to. And I believe that this is a sign that there is, as we talked about diagnosis, right? And I thought economy is in dire, but it's not as bad as climate. But there is hope in economy. That is individuals, middle powers, people like you and I, sit down and analyze and not leave it for others to do the work. We have to do our homework. And there's plenty of resources to learn about economics, microeconomics, the movement of wealth, the movement of money. There's so much on YouTube, right?
Yes, there are a lot of also very entertaining channels.
I think that's another thing that we have. There's just so much intelligence, or rather, I say, and entrepreneurship, enterprise. There's so many people out there with so much to offer in terms of their innovation, technological prowess, and so on. I think the time has come to share it with them.
Yeah, and I think, the whole concept of the middle powers, you see, the thing is, right now, if you look at the country that produces all sorts of innovations, actually now it's gone to China.
Yes.
China is the one producing more innovations than any other country in the world, right? From electric vehicles to even AI, the amount of patents that they are pulling out in AI is the highest compared to the United States. And the middle powers are probably going to share this. So we don't have to look at US as the seat of innovation.
Correct.
Now that everyone would go to the US, you could actually go to universities anywhere in the world and probably get support for what you want.
The things being produced in Malaysia as well.
Sure,
I believe our selfie stick was made in Malaysia.
Oh, really?
The USB, the pen drive, it's a Malaysian invented it.
Oh, I didn't.
There are many Malaysian inventions. We have innovative people right here in Malaysia.
There's to see more of that now, I guess.
And it's time. It's time to.
So it's time for middle powers to shine. I mean, like, they are countries of their own. They have educated people of their own. They have It's time for them to have a part in this world.
Yeah, everyone, to come back is, basically look at everyone as equals. Right?
Yeah, somebody is going to come and do the job for you, or there's always somebody is going to innovate.
Right.
Why don't we start?
Right.
It's not like, and I think there's so much talent in Southeast Asia.
Course.
There's so much talent in Southeast Asia. I mean, I've been to the Philippines, and I must say, these are people who, despite the typhoons and
Right.
earthquakes, there is volcanoes and the flooding, they are so resilient, and they're
Amazing. Yes. Right.
and I've worked with my colleagues there. It's incredible when they talk. You understand that it's like genius just waiting to explore, waiting for an outlet. Go to India. Come on.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've studied in India. I was in India 9 years. And let me tell you, the sense of competition there, it's just incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. And, we all like going to Thailand. And,
Right.
and we find that, the Thais, besides being very nice people, so on, there are many things are happening. There are some hospitals there that people have told me, you should step into the hospital and see how good the service is, how innovative they are, how way ahead in terms of advancement in therapeutics compared to even Malaysia and Singapore. Right. So the things that are going around in Southeast Asia, so we are on a gold mine. Again, no pun intended. And we should start utilizing this. It's about time.
All right. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this podcast, and we want to thank Prof. Guna for joining us and sharing his wonderful insights. And you're always welcome to Weconomix podcast.
Thank you for having me on your show. I mean, I'm a great fan.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's every episode is so gripping. And the way you guys, you talk like, the only things missing is the coffee and the nasi lemak and the palaga.
Our viewers can sponsor that if you want. Or if you're going to this master one, so see on you.
Oh yeah, sure, it'd be my pleasure. So it's a great honor to be on your show. I look forward to future. I hope I didn't babble too much.
Thank you for sharing, and we really enjoyed it.
And we are enjoying platforming people.
Yes.
Yeah, again, as here,
Economic sharing platform.
Yes, that's right.
Comments, views, and with that,
Yes, let's strive to thrive, and we will see you in the next video.
thank you.
Bye.